The defending Winfield Cup champions are on the ropes. Tonight at home, the Panthers must turn their cup hopes around. Sea Eagles, one of the form teams of the 1992 title. Last week winners in a scoring frenzy against Canberra. Michael O'Connor, now a league elder statesman, but still one of the most respected all-round backmen in the game.
We'll be trying to continue our good form from last week and beat Penrith at home, something that we haven't been able to achieve for the last 5 years, so it'll be a tough game.
Greg Alexander, awesome from the scrum base, a peril for the opposing pivot.
There we go! It's home for Brandy Alexander.
We haven't really started the season the way we expected to. Tonight we really got to guts it out and get our first win on the board.
Ian Roberts, in the forward line they come no tougher. His duel with the Panther forwards tonight a highlight. John Cartwright, determination with a capital D. Dynamite is expected tonight. Can he inspire a first Panthers win?
They have a very strong pack of forwards led by Ian Roberts. If we can stop him, we go a long way to stopping Manly.
Penrith and Manly, the battle lines are drawn.
Are you ready for a Friday night party? A Friday night football party? We're ready! Gonna have a good time tonight. Friday night football, getting high all night. Come on, baby, we can't go wrong. Friday night football all season long. Kicking off the weekends, everything's so fine. No one comes and gets it to you quite like tonight. Knock it out, you filthy. The team's on the field and they turned up the lights. All my rowdy friends, you're Friday night. You really think it's gonna be right. Gonna have a good time tonight. Friday night football, gonna play all night.
Sea Eagles, Panthers, Friday night.
We're gonna have a good time tonight.
Hello and welcome to Friday Night Football from Penrith Park. And what an important match this one is tonight. Manly with 2 wins in a row, the Premiers 2 losses in a row. Can they get out of the hole? To answer all those questions and a lot more, here's Ray Warren along with Peter Sterling and Paul Vorton.
Thank you, Ken. Yes, it brings together 2 of the heavyweights, Penrith and Manly. Peter Sterling, Penrith, I know they've only lost 2 games and it's early days, but it's almost D-Day already for them.
It is, Ray. They're starting to lose contact with the leaders, and that's a dangerous thing early in the season. They've got injury problems, but I do think the wet weather will work in their advantage. If Greg Alexander can get a good kicking game going, they can force some mistakes.
And, of course, Paul, Matthew Ridge out, and as Peter said, some wet weather about. On form, it probably brings them together.
It does, Ray. Matthew Ridge is worth at least 10 points a game to Manly. His general play's improved out of sight. For mine, Kevin Iro is the man to watch for them.
So there it is from Paul Vorton and Peter Sterling. Now it's back to you, Ken.
Thanks, Ray. Well, an interested observer on the sideline tonight will be Mark Geyer. Mark, what's been the feeling going through the camp leading up to this match?
Oh, mate, obviously a lot of tension. Two losses in the first 2 games is pretty hard to take, but, you know, this club's got a lot of character, which you showed last year in the grand final, and, you know, we'll come back tonight and I'm sure we'll beat Manly.
You can't stand 3 losses, though.
No, it'd be very hard, 3 losses to come back after that, and especially if Manly get 3 games ahead of us, well, it's even harder then. But I'm sure the boys will be on their guard tonight, and I'm sure we'll come away with a win.
Well, Mark, look forward to your comments throughout the evening on the sideline. Right now, calling all the action, here is Ray Warren.
OK, Ken, thank you very much. Michael O'Connor takes the Manly team out onto the Penrith Football Stadium with that tremendous win last weekend against Canberra. Behind them now, but they run out now to be not so much greeted by this Penrith crowd, and it's a big one considering the weather conditions. The fireworks go off over Penrith Football Stadium, and Greg Alexander and the Panthers get an enormous reception as they take the field with rain drizzling down. It has been for some time, and very uncomfortable conditions for both players and spectators. Let's take a look at the teams for you now. And here they are, and this is the way they read out for you in this match tonight. Penrith, fullback leads. The wingers are Mackay and Smith. The centres are Bentley and Fittler, with Bentley coming into the side for Izzard. Carter and Alexander at the halves, Van der Voort at lock, Cartwright, Walker second row, Dunn and Clark front row, and Ben Alexander gets the hooking spot from Brett Boyd, and of course they're coached by Phil Gould. The Manly side, and Darryl Williams is the fullback for this match, with Matthew Ridge being a late withdrawal. On the wings are Frank Stokes and David Lydiard. In the centres, Kevin Iro, Michael O'Connor. The halves are Lyons and Tooby. The lock is Cunningham. The second row is Tony Iro and John Jones. The front row, Roberts and Bella. And the hooker is Matt Dunford. And, of course, they're coached by State of Origin coach Graham Lowe. Greg Alexander placing the ball for Penrith to run right to left in the first half of this game. Rain, as you can see, tumbling down a little bit more heavily now. Bill Harrigan is the man in charge of this game. Penrith coming into the match with none from two. Manly, in contrast, 2 out of 2, as the ball is taken back to the Penrith side by the Manly wing three-quarter. In fact, it was the second rower, Tony Iro, wearing the number 12 today, and play just outside his own 22 as a result of that run. Bella now. Joining me on the sideline tonight is the suspended Penrith and Kangaroo second row forward, Mark Geyer. Mark, what was the preparation for Penrith like during the week? How did it differ from the earlier weeks in the Winfield Cup?
Ray, most of all, it's really intense. The atmosphere was obviously unsettled because of the first 2 losses, but I'm sure the boys will come out tonight and perform a good victory against a Manly team who are on a roll.
Bentley goes away after Leeds was asked to field the ball. Play is about 7 metres into Manly's area in the opening exchanges of this big clash between the joint premiership favourites, Manly firming into equal favouritism with Penrith during the week.
Ray, already we've seen the importance of a good kicking game. Darryl Williams unable to get a big kick away from his own territory, and that's where I think Greg Alexander should be able to play a major part in this game. Kicking long, getting the opposition down in their quarter and forcing them to work out. There he does, puts one on the boot now inside the quarter. Carter coming through. Call play on by Bill Harrigan.
Yes, and Williams is going to be forced in goal, but the referee is ruling the knock-on back where Steve Carter came in contact with it, and it's the turnover of possession. So Manly back on their own 10-metre line, and Bella comes away now. Pulled down by 3 Penrith defenders. About 7 metres inside his 22. Good tactics by Alexander. The kicking game so important in wet conditions, and he will mix it up through the night. No doubts about that. Dunford trapped from dummy half. Ben Alexander back in the number 9 for Penrith in this game, as Tooby gives it away now for Martin Bella, and smoke just flooding across the ground as Tooby comes away to a wide blind side. He's held up 30 metres out from his own line. Dummy half again is Dunford. Pass going back there again for Williams to try and get a kick in. It's not a bad kick, but I guess it could have been deeper. And Leeds it is, the former Parramatta player and former International Union player, is tackled on the halfway mark. Came to Penrith, simply asked the question, I want opportunity. They said, you'll get it here. And here he is in first grade tonight. Going ahead in the number 10 for Penrith is Paul Dunn, with the head quite heavily taped. Now it's his front row partner, Clark. Clark pulled down by Jones, our man of the match from last Sunday's encounter. Oh, big hit there. Big clash of bodies there, with Walker coming in contact with Roberts. Now it's with Alexander. Alexander again dropping it onto the boot and keeping the ball along the ground for Lydiard to clean it up.
Penrith have started this game at 1,000,000 miles an hour, Ray, and they've got to really, if they lost tonight, the possibility of them winning 15 of their last 19 games to try and make the 5 is not really a feasible one, and they're just desperate for victory. Martin Bella, on the other hand, he started very well for Manly. Some of his charges have made him 10 or 15 metres, and the Penrith defence have really got to watch him.
But in contrast to Martin's start to the game last Sunday, in fact, here's Lyons slipping a short ball for Jones. But Bella, he came home stronger in that second half of that match. Here's Lyons, out from dummy half, gets it onto the boot, finds the line, about 10 or 12 metres into Penrith's area of play.
Excellent play there from Cliff Lyons. Plenty of pressure going on to the Manly kicker. They were chasing Williams from the marker position. They split. Cliff Lyons saw the heads open in front of him, knew he wanted to get a kick in, and he was able to find touch 20 metres downfield.
Alexander then working this scrum, which is won by the Penrith team, and Mackay comes in from his left wing, and he's met and pulled down by Williams and by Lyons. Stokes, in fact, fell back into the fullback position for that set scrum. And now from Alexander for Cartwright, a key player for the Penrith team. Hoss Cartwright, looking for him to slide that ball, although probably not conditions to suit his style of play. Clark, Alexander now, runs it to the defence, cuts out a player, Fittler's into space, gets away from the first tackler.
Six
the
to
ball
go,
knocked
Ray.
down, 6 more tackles. Mackay is with it now for Penrith.
Penrith took advantage there of Manly having both centres caught on the one side of the field once again. O'Connor and Iro on the open side as Penrith do go open once again.
Here's Walker now. Back slam to the ground, 20 metres out from the Manly line. The chant goes up for the Premiers now. Ben Alexander hit hard in the defence there. Put down by Tony Iro. From Greg Alexander for Paul Clark. Clark tackled on his, or back on the Manly 10-metre line. Ben Alexander for Greg. Now it's with Cartwright. There's the ball. Fittler scores. That's the ball I was talking about. Cartwright sliding the pass. Magic pass.
Yes, we saw Brad Fittler. What a player he is. He made a break just a couple of seconds ago. Made a long run. John Cartwright on this occasion took the ball to the left. Off Greg Alexander. They're working well, these pair. Ran across field. Look at the Manly defence not covering inside there. Owen Cunningham got to him, but Brad Fittler's a very powerful man. Over he goes under the sticks. Manly draw first blood.
Only enough the sort of try we expect from Manly, running the angles, the centres coming back inside. Cartwright did it very well with Fittler. Stepped out of 2 tackles here. Cunningham had a shot, so did Ian Roberts. He was able to score under the post, and they've taken advantage of the good start they've put on in these opening minutes.
So Brad Fittler, young kangaroo, 18 years of age when he toured with the Green and Golds. He picks up the first try of the match. Manly go back to the committee room, and Greg Alexander lines up to add 2 points to it. Penrith captain, just a small kick from in front of the uprights. No mistakes, flags up, scoreboard goes up, and Penrith lead by 6 points to 0. So a very good start for Penrith. They had all the territory. Manly only for a fleeting second saw Penrith's area of play, and it almost had to happen.
Well, the game's 7 minutes old, Ray. I don't think we've seen a tackle in the Penrith half yet. Penrith controlling the game at their will, with Alexander's kicking game keeping Manly under pressure.
This is Smith coming back with the Jones kickoff. Tuvey, little man there, going up high, shutting down the football. That's the way it is today. Mackay, these Penrith wingers, they work very hard as forwards in positions such as this. Dunn, Paul Dunn plays it back now for Ben Alexander to give to Paul Clark. And Clark is able to get through that first line of defence for Manly. Plays it midway, 22, halfway. Penrith into the ground, and again Cartwright gaining valuable yards. Ben Alexander back for Greg. He puts it to the boot. And the kick from Alexander skimming along the ground, but bounces favourably for Darryl Williams to bring it back. Outside his quarter, 25 metres out from his line. He'll play it back for David Lydiard. Lydiard running across the ground, setting himself up as an easy target for Ben Alexander. Jones runs it very strongly, but he ran into a bone cruncher. Cartwright, good tackle. Jones plays it. Now it's Lyons. Lyons holding it back, looking for Tuvey. Tuvey met and monstered by Clark. Tony Iro. Cliff Lyons. Right foot kick by Lyons, and it will find touch, and it does. 30 metres out from the Penrith line. 6 points to 0 then in favour of the defending champions Penrith. A try by Fittler, a goal by Alexander. They came after about 5.5, 6 minutes of time, and a most impressive start. It was full of pressure, and eventually Manly cracked under that pressure. Greg Alexander working the scrum. Here's winger Smith now to come away. Tackled just outside his 32. Greg Alexander. Carter runs the decoy. Bentley slips over and falls at the waiting arms of Martin Bell. Now they go back to the blind. They've worked it into what they call the 40 in rugby league. And when reaching that point, they go back for a blindside charge. Now they come back up the middle, and Dunn got away from a shoulder charge that went wrong from Roberts.
And Ray, those shoulder charges, they're really no value, are they? As Vandervoort goes up the middle, but Roberts, he's got to learn to tackle with both arms, not just his shoulders.
Ball played by Vandervoort. Swept to the right for Greg Alexander. Onto the boot it goes, and again he'll find the line deep inside Manly territory. 8 metres away from the line, in fact. He's got it on a string in the opening minutes, Greg Alexander.
Yes, and so have the forwards. They're setting the platform, really hitting the advantage line particularly well. Dunn made good ground. That enabled Colin Vandervoort to scoot up the middle of the ruck and make an easy 10 metres. They're setting the foundation, hitting both sides of the ruck, and they're playing it down the end that they want to be.
You've taken Manly in this match tonight already. I guess you'd have to feel, as I do, that they've got a long night in front of them, a lot of work to do. They've got to get this pendulum to swing. It's swinging, but it's swinging against them in the opening exchanges. Cunningham with the ball, but the penalty goes to Manly. Penrith inside the 5 from the scrum. And Stokes making the line finder. And you're not looking for too much territory, quite wisely. Finding it on the 32. Bella now. Good strong run by Bella, 10-metre run, and tried to squeeze the pass. Probably the wrong time to do it, particularly down your own end of the park.
And on the first tackle, Ray, now Penrith getting sent up.
So I hear from the benches that Des Hasler is warming up. Kangaroo utility player, I'm led to believe, is warming up down in the trenches. So we could be seeing Des Hasler put into the battle very, very shortly. A shot of him on camera now. As we go right for Greg Alexander. Now Steve Carter, round the corner pass for Cartwright. Tackled on the 22 line. Greg Alexander. He's to dummy half now. Mackay working off the left wing. He's doing the work on the right wing at the moment. And a good strong run by Graham Mackay. Last tackle, Alexander will put it up. No, he keeps it down low. Pressure again for Williams. He's probably saying to himself, oh, what am I doing back here? Well, the crowd roar as Penrith put on the pressure. Manly equal to it, but they're going to give it back to Penrith for another 6 to shoot down at them on that line.
It's interesting tactics here by Alexander. On 3 occasions now, he's put the ball on the ground rather than go to the air. Maybe it is because Darryl Williams, he is a really good fullback, and he does handle that high ball particularly well. They prefer at this stage to keep Manly in their own territory, and now they get another set of 6 at them.
And this is going to be the first of them. Now, I think this is McNamara who's on the field for Penrith. In fact, it's the winger Smith, but I've got a feeling McNamara has gone onto the field. Bentley, oh, Manly, inside the 5, and a very easy kick coming up for Greg Alexander.
Yeah, so Bill Harrigan was back at least 7 or 8 metres there. He picked 2 or 3 players in front of him. Bella was one, Roberts another. And it's really a gift 2 points now for Greg Alexander. He shouldn't miss this from right in front.
So Alexander from almost right in front, 20 metres out. And a chance to extend the score, 6 points to 0 currently for his team. Looking for their first Winfield Cup points in 1992. 1 out of 1. It was a simple conversion of the Fittler try from right in front. Now Greg Alexander using the round the corner style these days. In fact, a convert to this style from his schoolboy days anyway. And very precisely he marks it out. The view that Darryl Williams has got of it. And Alexander strikes it. It left the boot beautifully. His confidence is high. The crowd's is even higher as Penrith now run to an 8 points to 0 lead.
Yeah, Peter, Greg Alexander, he's a player that in some circles is much maligned because he doesn't get involved enough in the play, but tonight in the opening 15 minutes, he certainly has been ruling the roost out there.
Well, the forwards are going forward, and that always helps a halfback. I've always felt a little bit sorry for Alexander because the public want him to be brilliant all the time, and you can't do that in a game. They don't want to see him just do the simple things, move up and use the football. Very tough task to have that kind of pressure to be brilliant in everything that you do. But he certainly started the game off in the right fashion tonight.
Here's Paul Dunn taking it outside the quarter.
A lot of first missed tackles here by Manly tonight, and they really have to get their first line of defence set and no mistakes before they're going to go anywhere in this game.
Played by Walker. This is Clark and Jones around the ankles on that occasion. Dunford over the top. Cartwright. Lyons goes high, covering up the football. Roberts comes in to assist. Last tackle for Penrith. The sound of the whistle. The ball lost in the play of the ball. So a scrum to go down just on the Penrith side of halfway.
We'll mark a mistake there from the Penrith side, but you must be very impressed with what you've seen from the Penrith forward so far. Really some vintage stuff that we saw last year.
Mate, the first 15 minutes have probably been the best football I've seen from our side in a couple of years, actually. It's been controlled, and it's the forwards are really making the way for a win. But I'm looking forward for big Kevin Iro to get involved soon, which I think he will.
Penalty goes against Penrith. They got inside the 5 at the scrum base, and Harrigan trots right across to the centre of the park. Differential penalty, though. So Manly will be kicking for line. It'll be their first sight of the area inside Penrith 22 in the game so far. As Mark Geyer said, 15 minutes gone, and this is the first time that Manly, to my memory, has been inside the Penrith 22. This is David Lydiard. 15 out from the line. He'll play it back for Dunford going into dummy half. Looks for a runner, finds Bella, and he hits it straight up the middle and is met by the markers 10 metres away from the Penrith line. Again Dunford looks for the runner, cuts Roberts out, finds Tuvey. Tuvey gets it away now, and Tony Iro is about 5 metres out from the line. Tony Iro, the big Kiwi, playing in the second row tonight. Away now for Dunford, on to Roberts. Roberts fends off one, takes it back inside the 10-metre area. He's tackled 9 metres out, right in the centre of the ground. Good place to attack from. Lyons fading across the ground. Oh, Carter read it magnificently. He shut Lyons down very quickly. 5 tackles gone for Manly now. Will they go to the air? Williams it is that puts the kick up. Carter put down a charge on him. It's raked up by a Manly player back to Bella. Bella gets it away. It's scooped off the ground by Kevin Iro, and eventually he's going to be put to ground, and the referee is going to order the turnover of possession to Penrith.
Yeah, great pressure there by Penrith, and Steve Carter, what a tackle that was on Cliffy Lyons. Cliffy still feeling the effects of that one. And Penrith now, gee, they started this game in great fashion. Peter?
Not just a great tackle there from Steve Carter, but the way he got out to put pressure on the kicker as well. He's really added plenty of enthusiasm to this Penrith team, and that's infectious. The rest of the guys are really they're geeing up after that kind of play.
Another good run by John Cartwright, and now it's Van der Voort. As the Penrith forwards get this roll going. Dunn it is, the third carrier of the football for the forwards. Now it's Ben Alexander, the fourth, and he puts a little bit of the light stepping work on. Gets it to his brother, on to Carter. They've got the numbers. Oh, Carter! He's held on too long. And the ball goes over the sideline. It's going to be a scrum about 15 away from the man. Tony Iro coming off. Des Hasler going on.
Frank Stokes has left the field for the Manly side. Tony Iro has moved back out onto the wing.
Tuvey now to work. Manly's ball for Lyons. Now it's Kevin Iro. He got plenty of space to work in last Sunday. Not enjoying the same fortune tonight, though. David Lydiard wearing jumper number 40. Tackled just outside his quarter. Dunford. Now it's Jones. Van der Voort cutting him down right around the legs, and over the top was Walker. Roberts now. Roberts takes it out another 5 or 6 metres. They're on their own 32-metre line with 8 points to 0 to score in favour of Penrith. A try to Fittler, 2 goals to Alexander, and that kick by Williams is nice and deep back to the Penrith 10-metre line, and bringing it back is Andrew Leeds, who's able to beat the first tackle, that of Cliff Lyons. Pulled down eventually by Owen Cunningham. Paul Smith now. Beats the tackle of Jones, gets outside the 22 before he's pulled down over the top there. Wrestled to the ground by Jones, in fact. Now it's Walker. Crowd, considering the conditions applying, very good. Stokes back on the bench. Done. They were expecting something like 18,000 here tonight. They haven't got anywhere near that, but they would be pretty happy with the crowd considering the conditions. Last tackle coming up now. Greg Alexander drops it onto the right foot, sends it away towards the touchline. Oh, just out on the full by Greg Alexander, so he's not all that impressed with his own ability on that occasion. The ball coming back now, and it'll be a turnover with the Manly team playing the ball about 5 metres into Penrith area. Ian Roberts it will be. Dunford for Bella.
At this stage of the game, you'd have to say that Penrith's set of 6 forwards are just on top of the Manly 6. Penrith 6 are really hitting that advantage line well and defending like terriers. And the Manly forwards struggling to make yards against them. Hasler, he'll run from dummy half. His first touch in about 6 months.
And Hasler was rounded up by Van der Voort, losing a bit of ground actually in the confrontation. The pass from the dummy half Dunford was a shocker, and that's a knock-on. No doubt about it, even though Roberts was facing back towards his own goal line, the ball was projected towards his opponent's dead ball line, and there it is, living proof of it. Definitely a knock-on. Penrith coming up with the ball. Again on an early tackle from the Manly mistake. Bentley. Smith. Hasler back from knee reconstruction. Dunn, he puts it down. Manly come up with a ball from a similar mistake from Penrith. An elementary mistake on an early tackle. Lyons. Lyons probing for the opening, but it's not there. 8-0 in favour of Penrith if you've just joined us on Friday Night Football. And more than 20 minutes of the game gone. Hasler.
Really a lot of pressure here on Cliff Lyons. It does appear as though both Jeff Tuvey and Des Hasler still finding their way after coming back from injury. As Tony Iro makes a good bust, picked up Cunningham, who knocks on, but cleaned up for Penrith by Brad Fittler.
Well, it was a good surge by Tony Iro. Cunningham running as ball support for him. And that was probably one of the better passages of play for Manly. But again, they cough up possession, and Mackay goes away for Penrith now. Just outside his own 22, Bentley. Now Smith. Bella making the tackle. Now it's John Cartwright. Izzard limbering up down on the sidelines for Penrith.
Yes, another knock on there by Paul Dunn, trying to pick that off the ground, but really not a very good pass at all. No one wanted it. And Manly now attacking in the Penrith half. A chance for them.
Tuvey coming around to work this scrum. Appeals to the referee for a tunnel. And very nearly a scrum win for Penrith. It is a scrum win for Penrith. Well, it was out to the Manly side, but Penrith have come up with the football. Carter. Penrith very keen to go on the attack on the first tackle, particularly in that situation. Good football. Done. 10 metres into Manly's area. Alexander. Floating it out. Izzard. He puts it down, but it was a very good tackle. It was a tough situation there for Brad Fittler.
And the pressure pass rate. John Jones is right on top of Fittler when Alexander passed that ball, and that was the result, the drop. Iro now is slowly but surely getting involved. A good run from him. He didn't make too many yards, but at least he's getting involved. He's an impact player who Manly really need to fire up tonight.
David Lydiard to play. Dunford. Tuvey. Tuvey gets halfway through the hole. Here's Hasler, always backing up, and Hasler is tackled now. 10 metres, or a fraction better than that, into the Penrith area. Lyons. Short ball, Cunningham hit it up hard. But the referee has ruled that it was a forward pass.
Yeah, he's ruled it forward. That's a tough call against Cliff Lyons. It didn't seem to be much in this one. Threw it from, well, I've seen worse ones let go, and Owen Cunningham did particularly well to catch it. Martin Bella being spoken to here. Hands have gone up in the air. He's not too happy about it. Not quite sure what it's for. But Penrith 8 points to 0 in front of Manly, and that's quite a big lead in the conditions.
John Cartwright has come from the field for Penrith. Brad Izzard has gone on. So a bit of a reshuffle in the Penrith side. This is Leeds now.
Yeah, Fittler's just packed into the second row on that scrum. Maybe a sign of things to come for him in the future. Fittler.
Carter. Well, I know for a fact Phil Gould believes that the lad will make up into a lock forward. Certainly not in 1992, but I don't think it's too far down the track for him. Here he is with the ball now, offloading for Leeds. Leeds makes a run of about 10 metres.
The lights have gone out.
Lights, a bank of lights have gone. Greg Alexander almost away. Third tackle coming over the top from Roberts. Alexander didn't like it either. Clark gets into a bit of space, shrugging off tackle after tackle. Good run, the crowd appreciates it. Five gone now. Greg Alexander, he grubber kicks back into the in goal, and they've made a mistake. It's a try. It's a try. Steve Carter, is it?
Yes, it is.
Steve Carter has scored the try off another Greg Alexander kick into the in goal. Working for the mistake. Manly obliged. The opportunity was there, and Penrith take another 4 points.
Oh, Manly, Ray, they might appeal against the light. Where's the umpires? Alexander, the tactics finally paid off. They couldn't handle it, Manly, and Carter was on the spot. He's chased hard all night and reached the rewards.
Again, a build-up from the Penrith forwards. We saw Paul Clark taking the ball forward. I think he threw a sidestep in there. I don't know if it was a sidestep or his knee giving way, but it was a great run by Paul Clark. Alexander has gone to the ground, as Paul Vaughton has pointed out during the night. That's the first result they've had, but it's been the build-up of the constant pressure Penrith have been able to apply, and Steve Carter has been very instrumental in that pressure.
I don't want to throw a negative on the try, but it all comes back to a forward pass ruled by Harrigan that was certainly not a forward pass, but that's where the attack of Manly broke down, and it was from the next passage of 6 plays that Penrith have gone in to score. So it was not only a tough call by Harrigan, it was most unfortunate for Manly.
I can only agree with you, Ray. I thought the pass was fair enough. The referee wasn't actually in a good position to see that pass. He was 10 yards ahead of the ruck. So how he saw it is beyond me. But the points are on the board. That's all that Penrith fans and Penrith supporters are concerned about. 12-0, kick to come. Alexander, he's having a fine match.
2 out of 2 for Greg Alexander. Yes, he's very much the conductor out there tonight.
Well, when Penrith are going well, Greg Alexander's going well, isn't he? He takes them forward. His kicking game is very important. And he looks a confident player. They realise just how important this game is tonight. They couldn't afford to lose contact. 6 points arrears for teams like Manly. And Alexander has the opportunity to lengthen that lead to what may prove an unassailable one.
Greg Alexander got a perfect record so far tonight. Strikes it, and he gets a further 2 points for himself and for the Penrith team. And they lead Manly now by 12 points to 0. Friday night football. Penrith leading by 14 points to 0.
Manly have to be careful that they don't fall into the problem of being 14 points to 0 down and thinking that they have to do something any different. Well, Bill Harrigan has called bad light.
Yeah, we've got a problem here. Harrigan has actually gone up into the tunnel. I don't know whether he requires some equipment himself or whether he's complaining about the light. The pictures you're seeing at home don't truly depict how this light has gone down here at Penrith Football Stadium.
One player it certainly won't suit is Martin Bell, the front row from Manly, placing contact lenses. He'll be doing it pretty tough out there because certainly not great conditions to be handling in, especially in dim conditions.
Paul Smith to play it. Now it's Fittler. A big step off that left foot. Good tackle by Hasler, though. Now it's done.
Ray, this is shades of 1991 for the Panthers. They won the premiership last year. There's a mistake. No, he's ruled penalties, ruled handling in the play the ball. Manly not happy. Penrith will take the penalty with both hands, though. Just watching here, who's the culprit? Yeah, Desi Hazard just punched it out. And a good decision by the referee. He was right on the spot to see that one. But Penrith, their forwards are playing sensational football tonight, doing what all packs of forwards should do. Just make that advantage line, get the play going forward. And Alexander's doing the rest out wide.
Clark. 32 metres out from the Manly line. Greg Alexander, short ball for Graham Mackay. Kubi takes him around the legs. Hasler came over the top. Now, it's Penrith launching this attack inside the 32-metre line. Walker it is. He's pulled down. Played back for Ben Alexander. And now it's Colin van der Voort. Van der Voort within about 12 metres of the line. Penrith hungry for points, leading 14-0. Greg Alexander, he goes himself, intercepted by Michael O'Connor. Now he gives the ball back for David Lydiard. Lydiard put down by Paul Dunn.
Well, that looked like try time there for Penrith. Certainly plenty of gaps appearing. Greg Alexander looking to take advantage of it. Fortunately for Manly, Michael O'Connor got out off the line. We see the pass hit him in the chest. I know all about those intercept passes. And O'Connor relieves pressure for Manly, but a mistake made by the Seagulls. The scrum will be set 30 metres out from the Manly line.
Yeah, you do throw a good one, don't you?
Like to throw them to quick legs too.
Penrith will come up with the feed and the loose head from that knock on by Jones. The referee allowed the advantage to go, but Penrith got nothing from it. And Alexander gathering up the ball, which was lying loose. And now Penrith win the scrum. Carter calls on Brad Izzard, and Izzard barrels his way up to the 22-metre line. Now it's with Bentley. Bentley, oh gee, Manly are not moving up in defence. There are some yawning gaps out there, as exemplified by both Alexander and Bentley in the last two passages of play. Now Ben Alexander, he's pulled down by Lyons. Dummy half is Walker in 11. Now for Greg Alexander. Carter cuts out Izzard, picks up Leeds. Andrew Leeds, he'll play the ball right in front of the uprights, 12 metres from the line. Greg Alexander. Now it's Paul Dunn, one-hander for Brad Izzard. 10 metres away from the line still. 5 tackles have expired. Greg Alexander takes 3 steps on the one blade of grass, gets it back for Van der Voort, and Penrith have used up their tackles, so it'll be a turnover with Manly to play.
Well, that was better Manly defence then on those last 3 tackles. They came up quickly, but before that, Penrith running at will. Manly, Graham Lowe at half-time will have to do some surgery on them. They're off their game. They're not moving up in defence as a rule. Under their ball running, they're running one out.
Roberts. Well, this scoreboard indicates that we're in for a magnificent year in the Winfield Cup when you think about Manly's win over Canberra last Sunday. And now we're watching them on the end of a 14-0 scoreboard. And it probably typifies that we're going to get some results that, if you take the antecedents through the year, they don't add up. Bella, he doesn't add up either at the moment. He puts it down. He got an awful pass for a big man.
Well, those eyes are playing up. Look at this, Bella. Couldn't see the ball properly.
Well, it was a low pass, and unless you get your marker defence right and your dummy half work right, then you're going to be in trouble. That's where all your defence and all your attack stems from. Manly, we've seen a couple of passes from the dummy half area gone to ground. That's a bad sign. That's an area they certainly have to clean up.
So Harrigan taking the scrum back in field. Mark Geyer, you must be still impressed with what your teammates are doing for you.
Mate, they're doing everything right, aren't they? They're really impressive, and the big thing that's happened this week that hasn't happened the last couple of weeks is the talk out there. And, like, you can hear it from the sideline, and the boys are really revved up. Before that Bill Harrigan incident, I think he wasn't real happy with the light, and he came over to check on Eric Cox to see what was going on, so you might find out more about it after half-time.
Thank you, Mark. If you could address that at half-time, it'll be interesting to know exactly what the interruption was for. Steve Carter plays the ball. Penrith go onto the attack again. It's coming with monotonous regularity, really, as it's played by Van der Voort. Greg Alexander, Paul Dunn, he takes it up to the 22 line, and he's met and pulled down by 3 Manly players. Ben Alexander gets to dummy half. His brother wants it on the blind side. Narrow blind side. Plenty of numbers, though. Smith is tackled and will be asked to play it just inside the 22. Ben Alexander again at dummy half. Now it's Paul Clark. Clark working strongly. Now, Greg Alexander. Carter. Look at the numbers. There's the grubber kick. Pressure there for the Manly side. Iro was able to get back there, force the ball, but Penrith set it up. It was a set play. They put it into operation exactly the way they'd worked on it, but it was Tony Iro that was equal to the task.
Yes, and Tony Iro did what Penrith wanted him to do. They wanted him to try and pick the ball up instead of going down on it. Very dangerous in these conditions. May well have led to a fumble ball there and some more pressure there from the Penrith team. They'll get the ball back as we go into the final 5 minutes of this first half.
Down to the halfway line. Taken on the legs there by Andrew Leeds. Goes back 10 or 15 metres. And Jones it is that pulls him down. Mark, you might also check for me John Cartwright. I thought he was just given a breather by the coach, but he's been off there for some time now. You might check on what that was all about for me too, if you don't mind. 5-tack, I beg your pardon, penalty going to the Penrith side now.
Things really falling apart around that area. I thought the Penrith player was actually walking off the mark, but the marker's penalised for the Manly team for leaning on the tackle player. I really think that if this conversion goes over of the penalty, then I just can't see Manly coming back in the second half with the confidence that this Penrith team displayed for the first 36 minutes.
Well, Manly must be wondering what happened to them in the space of 5 days, but nothing's really happened to them. It's just that they've come up against a team that is tonight putting it all together, and Greg Alexander, as I said earlier, is very much calling the tune.
Well, it's a different type of game tonight, Ray. Last week we saw Manly free-flowing football against the Canberra side as we watch Alexander preparing to take this kick.
So Alexander now from 26 metres out, and this time he's hit the uprights and it's bounced back in. So everything's going nice for Greg Alexander and the Penrith Panthers. They lead by 16 points to 0. McNamara limbering up on the sidelines for the Penrith side.
Yes, Ray, last week we saw a free-flowing game with a Manly back such as O'Connor, Iro and the like. Both the Iros were heavily involved. There was plenty of yards to be made out wide, plenty of race were made. The defence is a lot softer than it is tonight. Penrith have got the game down pat. They're playing their game. Manly not playing theirs because they're not getting enough ball and not hanging on to it for 6.
Coming back with the ball is Andrew Leeds. Walker goes into dummy half. Smith. Fittler, good ball away from Mackay. Mackay forced back, gets rid of the ball, picked up by Carter. And Carter comes back to John Jones, who puts him down with an assist there from Martin Bella. Walker.
See, once again, Ray.
Again required to put him down. Clark. Five tackles gone. Greg Alexander punching it away to the new grandstand side of Penrith Park, and he finds it just outside the 22.
Yeah, once again, Ray, in that set of 6 for the Penrith side, I counted 4 or 5 missed Manly tackles. The first up defence from the Manly side tonight is just a little bit ordinary, and when you miss that first one, it puts pressure on the other players around you to go in and cover up for them. And Graham Lowe just won't be very happy at all at half-time. 16-0, 2.5 minutes remaining.
It's going to take a huge effort in the second half from Manly. Almost a miracle required. O'Connor, 15 out from his own line. Williams is the dummy half. Now it's Kevin Iro. 16-0 the score. 2 tries. Fittler 1, Carter the other. And 4 goals for Greg Alexander. 4 out of 4, in fact. Dunford. Bella. Bella, good run, good yards. Outside the 32. Dunford. Williams. His kick going down inside the 22 for Leeds. And Andrew Leeds it is who brings it back, beats Cunningham's tackle, ridden into the ground by Lydia. Greg Alexander. Smith. Play based midway between 22 and halfway. Penrith into the ground. Phil Gould on the one hand will be smiling. Inside he'll be smiling, and of course Graham Lowe with all the worries of the world. The pass from Fittler was astray and forward, and the advantage applies with Jones coming up with it for the Manly side now. Tuvey. Lyons. Lyons weaving his way back into traffic. Manly coach and the referee giving a penalty to Manly against the Penrith defenders. Hanging around in the tackle far too long, so Manly go for the line with the halftime siren about 1 minute away. Tackle be taken by Dunford just outside the 22. Bella. Tuvey's to the right, but Roberts is going to take it for one more play towards the centre of the ground. Now Manly. They're in the centre of the park. Attack from both sides. Lyons. He's put down. 8 metres away from the line. Tuvey should come into this play. It's out for O'Connor. O'Connor kicks across the ground. Mackay has to turn and go back, but there's little or no pressure on him. He takes it over the sideline, and it's going to be a line drop out to restart the action, but in fact I don't think there'll be enough time for that to happen. There's the siren, and it's half-time with Penrith absolutely delighting their fans. A thoroughly impressive performance. 16 points to 0 they lead. 2 tries, 4 goals for Penrith. Manly yet to get on the board. We'll be breaking for a moment and then coming back for the half-time resume from Ken Sutcliffe and Peter Sterling. You're watching Friday Night Football.
Gonna have a go. So Penrith leading 16-0 at half-time. Friday Night Football against the Manly Sea Eagles. Peter Sterling, they've come out with renewed vigour for this game, haven't they?
Ken, for 40 minutes we've seen the reigning premiers in action. Their forwards went forward. Alexander's involvement has been enormous, and their back line have taken advantage of the good platform that their forwards have set. So there's no wonder that they lead 16-0 on the scoreboard. I think Manly, we've lost one bank of lights tonight. I think Manly might be hoping that they all go out at half-time. OK, what a very clever try they scored first up. Cartwright, very instrumental. Yes, a great ball player, and passed it on to one of the real talents of the game, Bradley Fittler. And as I said during the call, the kind of try that you expect Manly to score with the angle being run. We see the pass going out from Alexander. Cartwright goes across, puts 2 defenders in mind. And we see a couple of missed tackles there. Cunningham and Roberts were guilty, but Fittler had made a very good dash into the centre. Very hard player to stop, and they took advantage of some ineffectual defence right on the Manly try line. Got to remember too, leading up to that try, Alexander was peppering them all the time with those grubber kicks along the ground. Very difficult in these conditions. No doubt that was the plan that they went out with, not to kick high, but to roll them along the ground. Very difficult in the greasy conditions, as you say. Darryl Williams coming into the side as the new fullback. Very safe under a high ball. A little bit tougher when they're rolling around on the ground. It took 3 or 4 before they finally came up trumps, but it did lead to another try for the Penrith team. Well, Steve Carr looked as if he'd bombed one try, but he made amends a few minutes later, and once again it was the ball running around on the ground, so difficult to control. Yes, again Alexander, instrumental, going to the line, decides to put a yawning gap there, and really this should have been covered up by the Manly team. There was the player coming across. I'm not quite sure who that was. But Steve Carter, as he's done all day, chasing. It may have been Owen Cunningham came up, wasn't able to clean up the ball on the ground. I don't think they'll change in the second half. I think we'll see a kicking game along the ground, kick for length when they're in their own territory. But in the opposition's half, they'll go to the ground once again. They've had success. Manly, what have they got to do? I mean, are they playing that badly, or is it Penrith are playing so well? Well, you get caught in a vicious circle, Ken. They've started to miss a few tackles because they haven't gone up. And once you start doing that, you get a little bit tired, so you start to miss more tackles. What they have to do really is to play well defensively, of course, but also not fall into the trap of looking for the big play. They can't look at the scoreboard and see that they're 16 down. They can't put so much pressure on Cliff Lyons that they expect him to do something with the ball every time they do. They have to go forward, take advantage of that. They've still got 40 minutes. If Penrith can score 16, Manly are the kind of team that can score as many points.
Well, we're looking forward to that one-on-one battle in the halfback position, but right now Alexander's doing it all over Tuvey, but that's probably because the forwards aren't playing as well.
Very easy to do it when your pack is going forward, and Greg Alexander is a past master at being able to take advantage of that. Tuvey does look as though he is feeling his way back. It's only, I think, his second game back from a major injury. He's still defending very well for the Manly side, but at the moment, Alexander calling the shots, but what a marvellous way to be able to call the shots when your forwards are giving you so much room.
Boy, and they so desperately needed it this weekend after 2 losses in the opening rounds of the Premiership. More Friday night football to come and a whole lot more on the wide world of sports.
Welcome back now for the second half of Friday night football to the Penrith Football Stadium, with the home side leading Manly by 16 points to 0. Let's take a look at the main statistics coming out of the game. The penalties, they cancel themselves out. The scrums in the match at this stage, 6-3 in favour of Penrith. Tackles, have a look at that. Manly have been required to make nearly twice as many tackles as Penrith, but that wouldn't come as a shock to you. And the individual performances, the top of the bill there for you in the tackling department. You find that Manly have been well served by Roberts, 17, Bella 16, Jones 14, and for Penrith, Clark 10, Van der Voort 9, and Ben Alexander 8. So there's the top tacklers out in the backs. Carter 3, Bentley 2, Izzard 2. Look at Jeff Tuvey's count. It's higher than most of the forwards at 12. Lyons for 7 and Williams for 2. A very big job coming up in front of Penrith in this, or Manly in this second half. A very worried Graham Lowe, conceding 16-point start. It almost seems impossible, Paul Vorton.
Well, you saw the tackle counts there, right? That's just an indication of how the game's gone. Penrith controlling the ball at ease, really. And when you control the ball, you control the match. Manly, all the work to do. They're not out of the match. We saw them come from behind last week against the Canberra side. They've got to get their defence right first up. They're missing too many tackles up the middle. And after that, they've got to sort of produce something out of the ordinary. Another missed tackle there in attack.
Fittler to play it. Now it's Clark. Mark Geyer coming back with us now on the sidelines. Mark, did you go into the sheds at half-time?
I did, mate. Obviously, Graham Lowe wasn't happy with his team's performance in the first half. He stressed there was hard too many tackles, way too many missed tackles by their forwards. And in our camp, Gus wasn't too quick to praise the boys. As he knows, there's another big 40 minutes to go, and I think he was quietly happy with the boys' performances in the first half.
So David Lydiard now comes back off his 10-metre line, gets it out to 22. Bentley makes the tackle in combination with Van der Voort. Darryl Williams, and Harrigan has pinched the Penrith side. He's got the markers for not standing adjacent, immediately behind one another. And so Manly will get this relieving penalty as Cartwright comes back onto the field.
And Andrew Leeds, the man to go off. Alexander will drop back to the fullback position. And I'd say Ben Alexander more than likely to the halfback position.
Tap taken by David Lydiard. Bella comes ahead with a full steam of a full head of steam there. Bella playing it back for Dunford. Now it's Roberts. Roberts spinning out of the first tackle, but held and put to ground eventually just outside the 32-metre line. Jones met by Clark. Penrith would have watched last Sunday's game very closely, and they've been standing right up on John Jones. He made a lot of incisive runs against Canberra. Not so tonight. Another penalty goes now to Manly. That's against the Penrith defenders.
And here's a very interesting decision. 16-0 down. You see there, Cartwright, the man penalised, or well, may well have been the second Penrith player getting up. 16-0 down. Michael O'Connor opting to kick for goal. I'm sure it must have passed through his mind, kicking for the sideline. And Ray, just at half-time there, I was speaking to Eric Cox, and Bill Harrigan actually left the field. He said that both captains of the teams had complained about the light situation. I find it hard to believe that Penrith would have, but that was the call, that both the captains had complained about the lighting.
O'Connor now from right in front. He gets the first points of the night for Manly. They get on the board, but Penrith with this huge lead, 16 points to 2 in Friday night football. Coming back down to the halfway mark. That was probably a decision that Michael O'Connor pondered over, Peter, whether or not to take a shot for the 6. He took the guaranteed 2 as the option, but it certainly would have raced through his mind.
Well, I'm sure that, you know, he looked at the scoreboard. 16 does seem like a very high mountain, but also just confidence-wise, it'll do them the world of good to actually have registered some points, and hopefully they can get some momentum from that.
Alexander's kick down into that dark corner. Tony Iro makes a good strong run back out to the 22. Now it's with Roberts and Manly getting it out to the 32-metre line on 2 plays. This is John Jones, accepted there and pulled down. Tackler in that case was Paul Dunn without the head bandage in this second half. Williams, who hasn't got that big boot that Matthew Ridge has got, and Manly are paying for it in part. Greg Alexander pulled down 10 metres his side of halfway now. Brad Izzard came into the game about 2/3 of the way through the first half. Van der Voort. Fittler running decoy on the blind side. Clark met by Bella, pulled down in combination with Tony Iro. Ben Alexander. John Cartwright laid on the first try for Brad Fittler with an excellent pass. 5 tackles gone now. Ben Alexander grubber kicks across the park. It'll find the line 10 metres out from the Manly try line.
Yes, fine play there by Ben Alexander. A good option at this stage of the match, just to put the ball back down in Manly's quarter again. Make them do the work to get out of their own quarter. I must say this, referee again, well, someone obviously is mouthing off. Or no, he must be a blood bin.
Yes, it's the blood bin for Tony Iro. Just a quick repair job, it seems. Well, they're going to have to get somebody out there shortly. That's Chris White going on in jumper number 41. So that it doesn't count as a replacement, when Tony Iro goes back on, he must replace Chris White. That rule was clarified and emphasised again by the Rugby League in communications during the week. Some coaches weren't clear on it. Bella out the back, she pops. Well, Martin tonight on a couple of occasions has tried to squeeze the pass, in my opinion, at the wrong end of the football field.
Yeah, that's just not on by Bella. Second tackle in your own quarter, trying to be an arty beats, and let's hope that for Manly's sake they don't pay the penalty.
Alexander away now for walkout. Jones around the legs, but he's able to unload. Dunn, and again there's a danger flare there hanging over the Manly side ominously.
And big numbers on this way. A bad play the ball there. 6 again for the Penrith team, but they certainly had numbers to the right here, and Greg Alexander had seen that.
Dunn away for Brad Fittler. He puts on the right step, then the left. He's only 5 metres out from the line, and one gets the impression that we're getting very close to another try in this match. Decoy comes from blind to open now. Walker follows through in the same passage. He'll play the ball about 7 metres away with 4 tackles left on this set. Sloppy played the ball. Ben Alexander for Paul Clark. Clark goes back to where the ball was played, and there'd still be 3 left, I imagine. It's out with Greg Alexander. Lovely pass to Carter. Now away to Paul Smith. He stands. The ball goes back, and 6 more tackles. 6 more tackles for the Panthers. Well, how much more can Manly endure? It goes away now for Brad Izzard. He puts on a blockbuster, but he's pulled down 10 metres away from the Manly line. Greg Alexander, a dummy half, but they give the penalty. That's sin bin time. Sin bin time for Desi Haslup. Referee ruling a professional foul on Des Haslup. So Manly reduced to 12 men.
Yeah, there's too much of this in the game, Ray. The referee's finding it really hard to control. All the players with the ball want to get up and play the ball quickly. Naturally, the defence wants them to keep them down as long as possible to allow his defensive line to get set. The referees, they're letting it go for as long as they can. On that occasion, though, he deemed Hasler to have just gone probably half a second too long. And 10 minutes in the bin for Des. Another opportunity for Alexander to put 2 points on the board. And 18-2 at this stage would be probably an unassailable lead.
Lower grades here tonight saw Manly have an impressive victory in 21s, with Penrith reversing that in the reserve grade contest. Greg Alexander again with the simple kick. Got the perfect record against his name so far, and there's no need to change that statistic. Penrith go further in front, 18 points to 2 now. 18-2 in favour of the defending premiers, back on track at their football stadium tonight. 2 losses, 1 to Canberra, 1 to Newcastle. It saddened the Penrith fans, but I keep going back to the Canberra game. Canberra were really on fire that day. It was no embarrassment to be beaten at Bruce Stadium that day by Canberra. And worthy to note that Penrith hasn't actually beaten Newcastle in the last 3 years of contests they've played against them. There's been a couple of draws in there, sure, but Newcastle have always been somewhat of a nemesis for the Penrith club.
Yes, well, Manly haven't won here for a few years either. I think the last time that we won was back in 1988 in the last match of the season. We had a convincing victory that day, but in the last couple of years, no luck here.
Ball played by Dunn. Cut out on Cartwright, put down by Clark, but look at him, he goes after it. Doesn't allow any advantage for the Manly side, and the scrum will go down. They'll get the football anyway, but at least he went about cleaning up his own mess.
Yeah, it's a good message for all the kids out there watching. If ever you do make a mistake, just try and rectify it if you can. Get up and get back into the play as soon as you possibly can and make amends for it.
Tuvey putting it just in front of the lock's feet, in fact. Lyons in a wrestle there with Steve Carter, who's been all over him like a rash tonight. Hasn't given him one moment of peace. Cliff Lyons, the destroyer last Sunday. Tonight, it's been continuous harassment from Steve Carter. Roberts playing at their 10 metres out from the line. Can the Eagles come back? Tuvey, Lyons. Lyons kicks for Iro, but Iro doesn't chase. Carter, he comes away with the ball.
Well, David Lydiard chased, and so did Steve Carter. He's done some great work cleaning up for Penrith tonight. Not that they've had a great deal to do, I suppose. He certainly led the way in many occasions. One area that Penrith have been able to turn around, going into this game, they'd only scored 12 points in 2 matches. Certainly blowing that statistic away tonight and showing that they can play good attacking football, sort of the kind of football that took them to a premiership last year.
Cartwright plays it deep in his own territory. Mackay. Paul Vorton was walking down memory lane as we come to the 5th tackle just earlier on, talking about Manly not having much success here in recent years. That's going out on the fall off the boot of Greg Alexander. So this adds up to pressure now for the Penrith unit. 18 points to 2. I don't know whether that word's applicable or appropriate, but Manly now on the first tackle on this fresh set, and DeBella's going to work it down to the 10-metre line. Manly backs are wide and deep. Roberts is that first receiver. He'll run decoy. No, he's not. He's decided to wedge it in right to the centre. They may, well, they'll go right here, but they'll come back, I think, with a good rush to the left-hand side. It's going right as expected. Here's Lyons trying to show it, looking for the opening, and lo and behold, he's got it down to the 10-metre line, but he was unable to pick up a run-up. Now here comes the play I was waiting for. Tuvey with the long ball, away from Michael O'Connor, picks up David Lydiard, but he's gone into touch. Tried to get the ball back in field.
Well, there's never really anything on there. Mike O'Connor kept running across field, and virtually saying there he wanted Dave Lydiard to come inside. That would have been the better option, but Lydiard was really penned in on that on the blind hand side, and into touch he went.
There's some good sliding defence there from Penrith. They realised that they didn't have a great deal of danger if they had numbers, and forced the winger towards the sideline. Penrith feed Ben Alexander leading the scrum. Makes a good little scurry out from the scrum base.
A couple of slow play the balls too in that passage of attack for Manly. They assisted the Penrith defensive line to mark up. Now it's Fittler. I was going to make the point to you, Paul. I recall calling a match here where your club defeated Penrith by, I think, 70 points. I am going back. How times can change.
Yeah, 1973, Ray.
The year that the Eagles won the grand final over Cronulla. 10-7. What a grand final. Dunn to play the ball now. Just outside his 22. Clark.
He's been super impressive tonight once again, Paul Clark. Nothing flash about him, but gee, he makes those yards, and he's as honest as the day is long.
Ben Alexander's kick, bouncing down favourably for David Lydiard. Penrith's cause was not assisted there by a Manly player lying in the play of the ball. I wouldn't have been shocked had Harrigan given a penalty, because they were disadvantaged and probably were entitled to a penalty. Williams throws a ball out the back willy-nilly. One of his teammates picks it up for him, but gee, they seem to be trying to squeeze. I know they're playing catch-ups, but they're trying to squeeze it the wrong end of the park, probably on the wrong tackle too. Now it's Roberts standing there looking for a runner. Dunford goes into dummy half. Cartwright trying to get some feeling back into a right shoulder. Lyons, little pass on the inside for Iro. 5 tackles gone now. Cliffy Lyons gets out from dummy half. Chip and chase for Lyons. Might get a bounce. Good play there by one of the Penrith players. Lyons has given him a little bit of a dust-up in the back play. I don't know whether the touch judge saw it. The crowd certainly did. And Ben Alexander, I believe it is down in back play. The touch judge has gone on. Penrith have got a penalty. This will be a report from the touch judge on that fellow, Cliff Lyons. The crowd did not like it. Lyons on the tip and chase had Ben Alexander to contend with. And believe me, Alexander went down after Lyons put a chop on him, but I didn't think there was a great deal in it. See how Ben was giving his brother a shepherd? And there's the little incident. And the touch judge has made the report.
A little bit of frustration coming out there in Cliffy Lyons' play. Good work from Ben Alexander to shield his brother with the little chip going over the top. I think Alexander was able to make plenty of yards from that. Saw a resultant penalty with Ian Roberts prematurely striking in the play the ball area. Alexander finds touch 35 metres out from the opposition try line.
18 points to 2 in favour of the Panthers. Clark pulled down by Dunford, but getting right down to the 22. Here's Graham Mackay, big runner of the football. Centre of the ground, Carl McNamara limbers up to come on. Cartwright, 15 out from the line. Penrith back in the area that they've seen plenty of tonight. Dunn, 10 metres from the line. 10 metres from the line now. Ben Alexander, away for Greg Alexander. Now Carter. He was looking for Walker to run off his left hip. Walker got there a touch too late when Tuvey made the tackle. Greg Alexander, chip and chase for him. Oh, beautifully weighted, but it's just gone over that touch-in-goal line.
Yes, beautifully weighted straight into touch, Ray.
Thanks,
unlucky.
Fanny.
No, that's unlucky. The slippery ground, and they just slipped over that dead ball area. And Martin Bella struggles to get out of his own quarter.
Who needs enemies? Played by Bella. Now it's for Lyons. Kevin Iro on his outside. He's been very quiet tonight. Lyons and Carter having an exchange of words in the back play. Frank Stokes plays it. Roberts topped the tackle count for Manly in the first half. There was plenty of work to be done. Now it's with Jones. Well, 10 metres from the halfway mark. This is the last tackle. Williams. The ball bouncing down on the Penrith 32, and they'll take it back to them via the winger Paul Smith.
Mark, I suppose the best thing confidence-wise for the Panthers now is to be able to run up a big score against Manly and not have it finish this way, even though it is a big lead. I'm sure you'd like to see them really grind them into the dust now.
Yeah, mate, I think that Gus would be very happy if we just kept Manly scoreless, regardless of how many points we score. I think that to keep a side like Manly without scoring a try is a big effort, and you know, I think the main reason we've caught them tonight like this is because we've wrapped up Iro and Lyons, two of their main players.
Ben Alexander loses the ball. Tuvey goes back with it. There's Hasler back out of the bin. Dunford, Bella. Dunford now. Goes for a run from dummy half, but again the markers are equal to the task. 18 points to 2 in favour of Penrith. Roberts. He gets the ball away, but it's picked up by, I thought, by Hasler. In fact, he has got it. Harrigan indicates 6 more tackles for Manly. Bella up to the quarter-way line and beyond it. Lions calling for the ball, calling for quick ball, but the penalty goes to Manly. And 10 minutes in the bin for Ben Alexander. Ben Alexander, a professional foul, according to the referee, and he gets 10 minutes in the bin. Michael O'Connor has opted to take the kick for goal again. 21.5 minutes of time left on the board.
Well, I've got to say, the early one, definitely when it was 16-0 and 14 seconds into the second half, I would have agreed with this one. 20 minutes remaining. They really do need tries. They're not going to kick 10 goals to win the match. 18-4, not much difference to 18-2. They dead set. I feel he should have gone for a try there.
And the kick at goal is successful, so 18 points to 4. That's the scoreboard in Friday Night Football. Penrith leading. I just noticed that Paul Clark has been given a spell, so Carl McNamara is out there in jumper number 41 now. Thought I saw a flash of him out there earlier on, but it wasn't. It was Cole Bentley in that number 40 jumper. McNamara gets his first taste of battle tonight, replacing Paul Clark, who's been given, I would imagine, an honorary discharge from the game at this stage because his workload has been very high.
There's no doubt about that. He's been one of their better performers. I must agree with Paul Vaughton. I know it's very easy to sit up here and criticise the decisions of captain and the players, but I think they did need to look for 6 down there. Now from the kick-off, they've got to work out of their own territory again. Tuvi's done a good job of that, but there's the mistake that they've made so constantly tonight, and they've got to go the full length of the field. I think they had to look for 6 earlier.
Jones met on the advantage line by McNamara. Dunford, Darryl Williams. And that kick going straight down towards Graham Mackay. He's got it well and truly covered. And here's the big fellow coming out from the 22. Reaches the 32, beats the first one, beats the second one. Gets those big legs out of a couple of tackles. Pulled down by the kicker, Williams. Now it's Paul Smith folding in, taking a forward run. Carter, McNamara. Oh! Big shoulder charge by Roberts. McNamara bounces up. Let's have a look at it. This is a shoulder charge that went right for Ian Roberts.
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt anyone, Ray. Bounced straight back to his feet and played the ball.
Carter. Walker. Last tackle coming up for the Panthers. 18 points to 4. Greg Alexander punching it down into the corner. Darryl Williams, he's got a ring of defence around him. And they must have come from behind Greg Alexander because that was not 10 metres. Lydiard.
One of you go, one of you go.
Bella. Manly getting some replacements ready. Chris White in jumper number 41 will be one of them. Tuvi got a bad pass, picked it up on the half volley. Lyons, Hasler getting it outside the 32, into an opening. Carter chases. Hasler pulled down by Mackay. Ball picked up by Walker, who was trailing through.
Well, Manly now starting to play the football we know they can play, the ad-lib stuff. They threw the ball out the left. Desi Hasler made a big break right down the middle of the ruck once again when the Penrith defence hadn't moved up. The last pass gone astray, and another chance gone begging for Manly. Penrith now looking to consolidate. It's Penrith's side. They can't afford to rest on their laurels, as we can see by that previous break. Manly are a side who could come back from 14 points down if allowed to.
Done. Last tackle coming up for Penrith. Alexander again turning Manly around, again waving the ball, and brought another mistake. Well, in fact, he has. Line drop out. That's what they're working for. They're betting each way. Either 4 points or 6 more tackles to attack on.
Very well weighted kick here from Greg Alexander. They've gone to the ground again. Lydiard had to have a go at it. A good chase there from, looks like Paul Smith coming in along the wing. Super play there from the Penrith team, just keeping the pressure on and again maintaining possession from this line drop out.
Greg Stokes takes the kick. Getting over towards the sideline, and a knock-on, is it? No, he's ruled knocked backwards by Fittler. Fittler goes back towards the 22. That's the first. Bentley, now McNamara, and the second. They're inside the 22 line for Carter. Greg Alexander. Brad Izzard bumping his way down 12 metres out from the line, and that's 3. Steve Carter, Greg Alexander dances away from Tuvey and a couple of others. Now he runs himself into a hornet's nest, and that's 4. Still 15 out from the line. John Cartwright. Cartwright tackled on the 10-metre line. Last tackle coming up for the Panthers. They'll wait it into the end goal. Came off Des Hasler's legs. Back and play on. Mackay, he tries to kick. It's still play on. Mackay, 6 more tackles.
That's a
Greg
penalty.
Alexander.
That's a
Greg
penalty.
Alexander.
The referee's ruled against Graham Mackay passing the football off the ground. Alexander over the line there, throws the ball away in some modicum of disgust, I suppose, but a good decision there from Bill Harrigan. Good work from Mackay. Actually came up with the 6 again. I don't know if he realised that. He certainly held there by the tackle player from Manly.
I don't know if he was held, Peter. I thought he was in the...
He was in a bear hug. It'll do me for a hold.
in the being held, but not properly held.
Well, you've only got to have a hand put on you if you're on the ground. It constitutes a tackle. Played by White. Now Roberts. Out to the 32-metre line. These play the balls becoming increasingly slow, and Roberts has dropped the ball. The referee said play on. I don't think he saw it. Lyons away for Stokes now. Now he draws them, gives it to Kevin Iro, and Manly have obligingly for Penrith put it into touch.
Yes, not Manly's night, I'm afraid. The boys are trying hard. You can see they're giving the ball plenty of air. On that occasion, Iro just fumbled that one into touch.
So the game plan is still very much intact, Mark Geyer, for the Penrith side.
Yeah, mate, they're playing well. They're holding their composure under big circumstances too. Like Brandy's probably been the player of the match in my eyes so far, but Graham Mackay, who's probably the strongest player in our club, just showing how strong he really is by busting 3, 4 and 5 tackles at a time.
Mark, when are you back officially?
Next week, mate. Suspension finishes next week, and my groin injury's healing up well, so I'll be back against Brisbane next week.
So you like the Nissan Sevens?
Pardon, mate?
I said you like Nissan Sevens. They take a couple of weeks off the suspension for you.
Yeah, and the challenge cup as well.
You've done fine.
Thanks, mate.
Here's Brad Fittler now. 22 metres away from the Manly line. From Carter, Alexander, Walker. Walker tries to crack them, but Manly equal to the task. Mike O'Connor up the top, Lyons down below. Greg Alexander goes blindside, puts the kick in, but Smith is unable to get a bounce.
And that ball, I think you'll find, came off a Manly player, so Penrith looking to get the feed here. Yeah, Alexander calling for the ball. Puts the kick in. Yeah, came off Desi Hasler's foot. Another set of 6.
Scrum win to Penrith. Alexander went without it. Had to go back for it. 11,650 here tonight. So it's a good crowd considering the condition. Paul Smith now. 12 metres out from the line. 18 points to 4 in favour of the Panthers. Carter crossed the ground looking for the flat runner. It was Izzard. And Izzard feeling the full impact of a Cunningham tackle. 20 metres out, centre of the ground. Greg Alexander holding it up. Then he goes himself, turns it back for Carter. Now back for Walker. There goes the ball loose on the ground. Vandervoort's with it. And he's been wrestled into the ground by Lyons. That's 5 tackles gone now. Carter getting up very slowly for Penrith. Greg Alexander He puts it into the air, and underneath it, Mackay. It goes to ground, picked up by Brad Izzard. But the referee is ordering a knock-on and a scrum to go down. Ben Alexander about to come back from the bin. Manly with the football, just inside the 22. Played by Stokes. This is Owen Cunningham. Sunday's match, we'll have the big one between Canberra and Brisbane for you. Tuvey. Lions. Long ball. Iro had to fly high to take it. Gets it back now for O'Connor. Manly back on their own 22. Well, this Penrith defence is something that probably we haven't saluted as much as we should have. The number of clean breaks that Manly have made, you can count on one hand, I would imagine.
Yeah, the Penrith defence has been outstanding. He's pulled up Cliffy Lyons for not playing the ball, dropping it. Cliffy shakes the head. He's not happy, man.
Well, he was milking for the penalty here, and the ball just slipped out. We've seen plenty of penalties awarded for that kind of situation, but Harrigan ruled it against Cliff Lyons. What a great attacking opportunity here. Ben Alexander feeding the scrum. Greg Alexander actually coming to the blind side now, folding open.
Here he goes, Greg Alexander to the open side. He's lost it when tackled over the top by Darryl Williams. That's a bad mistake by Penrith, but Manly, they've put it down, but they didn't gain any advantage. I'll be interested to see
Must be a
just
Manly
which side comes up with the feed here.
I think you'd have to rule that Alexander knocked on as well.
I'm sure he will, Pete, and I just put the point that Manly didn't gain any advantage by it, so they'd come up with the feed, and they have. Fed by Tuvey, swept away to the blind side for Lions, but the numbers were equal. 3 by 3. Cunningham. Dunford, Lions, long ball for Tuvey, now for Hasler. There's Hasler bent over backwards. Van der Voort's done plenty of work that has probably been, shall I say, not observed as closely as you might, but his efforts in defence have been very strong. Hasler.
This has got to be one of the shining lights for Manly is Des Hasler back on the paddock. We've already seen him make one big bust, and he's going to be all the better for the run we've seen now. It's Cliff Lyons. Looks like he will pick up touch. Yes, it does. Interesting to see if it came off Graham Mackay. But Hasler's played very well, and they'll be happy to have him back in the side every week.
So the scoreline is Penrith 18, Manly 4 in Friday night football. Going back into the match is Paul Clark. Scrum goes down midway between 22 and halfway. Penrith's end of the ground. Mackay. Done off. Clark on. Played by Mackay. Fittler tries to get the head down and makes the burrow through them, but making the tackle was Cunningham. McNamara got a good quick play. The ball picked up about 7 metres, well over the advantage line. Greg Alexander for Cartwright over the halfway.
One player who Manly have missed tonight, Ray. It's good to have Desi Hasler back, but David Hosking, who has been in sensational form early in this 1992 season. Another mistake there. Paul Clark knocks on. Alexander cleans up. But Hosking has been sorely missed tonight. The yards that he makes up the middle contributes very greatly to how Manly play the game. And he'll be back probably next week from that broken hand.
Well, the applause is for Paul Dunn, who's made a long walk back towards the dressing room area. Tuvey prepares to feed. Manly come away with the ball. Darryl Williams met by Greg Alexander. 14 points in arrears. The Eagles. Tuvey for line. Short ball for Kevin Iro. There's just nothing on offer for Manly. O'Connor ducking under a would-be tackle, but now he's not going anywhere other than towards the sideline. Brought down right on the halfway mark. Lydiard. Dunford. Tuvey. Lyons. Tony Iro came into the back line, but can't get it cleanly, and Penrith come up with the football.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of mistakes from Manly in this last 7 minutes of football, because they will continue to go wide and they will be forced into making mistakes, especially in these conditions. We saw another one there from Tony Iro, who appeared to be in half a gap. The ball went to ground, and it's the way that Manly are going to play it.
Fittler half losing the ball, half trying to get it away in a period of frustration for him there. No gap appeared. Scored a good try earlier off John Cartwright. Now, Walker. The tempo of the match, quite obviously, has slowed down, but this one has slowed right down as Clark makes another dent on that Manly defence line. 5 tackles gone. Greg Alexander puts the kick over the top for the winger Paul Smith. Lydiard goes back and falls on it. Lydiard plays the ball back near his own line. Stokes picked off by McNamara. Unsuccessful the attempt. And Stokes gets the pass away on the far side of the ground now. Kevin Iro in full flight over the halfway mark. He's very fast. Oh, they're not going to catch him. Kevin Iro. Tremendous run. Some 75 metres. In fact, the full length of the field, if you include Frank Stokes. And 18 points to 8 now in favour of the Panthers.
Yes, it could all be too late for Manly now, but we saw a trial like this last year. Frankie Stokes ran from his own goal line, picked up Iro. Iro had plenty of room to move in. Watch Steve Carter back on the inside here. He was a hope until he pulls a hamstring just there, and Iro scoots away. 18-8, is it too late for the Eagles? I think so, but some great football by them.
It is too late, and we said that that's the way that Manly would play it. Frank Stokes actually did that against Parramatta in a Friday night game last year, and he couldn't have picked up a better man, Kevin Iro, who really we haven't seen involved as much as we'd have liked tonight, but he has the joy, I suppose, of running in the full length of the field try. Too little, too late.
And the kick by Michael O'Connor successful, so 18 points to 10 now. Penrith leading Manly. I'm just watching a Penrith reserve getting ready to go on in jumper number 17.
But the Manly tactic of throwing the ball wide in their own quarter finally paying off. They've been trying it for the last half an hour. The Penrith defence has been awake to that fact, and their sliding defence has been controlling the Manly attack very well. On that occasion, though, from the kick, their defence, they're probably a bit tired and not coming up both sides of the ruck.
So that youngster going on for... Oh, gee! Did he knock on or did it go into touch? Neither is the ruling. Let's watch it again.
He knocked on.
I'm sure there was a knock on there, but it's gone unchecked. And Manly with the football through some good fortune on their own 22.
We see that replacement player in 17 for Penrith, Jamie Olejnik, who was a member of the all-conquering Australian schoolboys. Tim Horan, of course, making his first-grade debut for South Sydney. So these young players coming through, as we've seen in the last couple of years. Big things expected of Jamie up here in the mount for the Mountain Men.
David Hoskins with that left hand heavily bandaged. He's got a broken bone in the hand. As Manly kicked to try and clear. Steve Carter comes limping from the field. As Greg Alexander takes it back now. Getting it out to the 40-metre line. And Smith goes away now for Penrith.
Penrith here just need to consolidate. It's 18-10. They should win the game. But as we said, Manly are a side who can score tries in limited time. There's a mistake.
Yes, Brad Izzard, through the impact of the tackle, putting it down. Steve Carter came off on the far side of the ground. Jamie Olejnik is out there, and it's a hamstring for Carter. And that's a dangerous sign for the Penrith club. Lyons, he put it onto the chest of O'Connor, but Brad Izzard put a shot on him. No blame on O'Connor there. Olejnik now with it. Not the easiest name to play with, I'll give you the tip.
It's a hard one to wrap your tongue around, isn't it, Ray?
This is Walker. He's played strong for Penrith tonight.
They've all been impressive, the forwards, Ray. This man, Paul Clark, has had an outstanding match. Some great yards there by him. Look at that, a good 15, 20-metre run. John Cartwright, Barry Walker, Paul Dunn, they've all had exceptional games. Cartwright missed tackles. Ray, one stat which I will let fly now. Manly tonight have missed 38 tackles. That's about 22 many in a first-grade game.
Alexander's kick into the in goal. Stokes losing his footing. So again, Alexander, he's just kept putting on the pressure. And Manly again will give him back the football for 6 more attacking opportunities. Been a splendid performance by your captain, Mark Geyer.
Well, full credit to Brandy. You know, he's copped some flack over the last couple of weeks after our last 2 losses, but you know, I'm sure he's a silent sort of critics tonight, and he should be a big chance for the rep season in a few weeks.
Mark, you've been watching the game from the outset with us, and you've heard Paul Vorton heaping praise on the forward pack. The boys behind them, of course, can only do their work if the forwards get on top. They've done that. Who's been your forward of the match for Penrith?
Oh, mate, as Fatty said, you can't go past Paul Clark, I don't think. He never gets driven back in the tackle. He's always making 10 yards in attack, so yeah, he's been my pick from the forwards, and obviously Brandy and Steve Carter in the backs probably.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, mate.
Here's Greg Alexander. There's the only kick of his that really went wrong, and it very nearly didn't go wrong, as Williams gets back into the field of play inside the last 60 seconds of this match. A match that really Penrith wrapped up in the first half. They went to the break 16 points to 0. And Manly, though they've plugged away and whittled away at the lead, 18 points to 10 down. And very shortly on, you'll hear the crowd start to count out the last 5 seconds of this game. Kevin Iro with the ball on his own 22. But he's the sort of player that Manly needed to get into the game more tonight. Maybe it hasn't been a game for him, but they really needed him. Chrissy White.
Well, it wasn't a game for him in the first half, Ray, but the second half, I think he's played well. He's been the one Manly player to make plenty of breaks, but it's all over. The countdown continues. That's been the Manly story all night.
And so full time at Penrith Football Stadium, with the home side getting their first Winfield Cup points for 1992. The bookmakers will go back and adjust the betting again, because coming into the match, they had Manly at equal favouritism with Penrith, but the Panthers thoroughly dominant tonight. 18 points to 10 in favour of them, and the Panther power flags, they fly high again. A tremendous performance by Penrith. I think on the other hand, you'd have to say disappointing from the Manly side, particularly for those people that saw them and delighted in seeing them beat Canberra in a splendid performance last Sunday. Greg Alexander jogs off Colin van der Voort, a job well done by him. As we break from Penrith and the football stadium up here, Penrith 18, Manly 10. I'll be with the man of the match very shortly, and then Ken Sutcliffe and Peter Sterling.
Tonight, the inquiry into a siege where police killed a 21-year-old man, and Peter Harvey on the mafia slanging match in Canberra, as well the latest videotapes, Watto's cars and some jazz. And the world tonight.
A Lockwood 001 dead latch with door frame strengthener is your best defense. Get the twin pack for front and back. Lock up with Lockwood.
Hang on, my shoes first.
I like the straps and the top. They're comfortable. They go great with that dress.
I think so. Can we have a look at this bag, please?
That's with the tassel.
How about look at this? I just want to swear feeling. I'm not like courting. Definitely no. No. No way. No. No. Nope. Yes. I'll take that, thank you. Sean, Yoko, Jackie. Elton. Hello. The matte gold. I think the gold watch. And the gold with the black. What do you think? Ooh, lovely. What else is there? We're in the mood. Oh, you'd have to bring me those earrings. Sure. Tonight?
Not so long ago, Pete used his home to buy a boat with St George Home Loan Plus. And then Pete used his home to educate his kids with St George Home Loan Plus. And quite recently, Pete also used his home to get a big trip away with Martha with St George Home Loan Plus. And if you have any kind of home loan, no matter who it's with, you too can enjoy a low-cost home loan style interest rate for anything special. Just ask at any branch. Home Loan Plus. What a great idea, St George.
At BP, we like to think our new service stations are the best in the world, which is why our special fact-finding team is constantly checking, as unobtrusively as possible, how well our stations are maintaining the standard. Thank you. We're pleased to say the results have been very encouraging. But why not come and check us out for yourselves? BP, on the move.
The new fuel-injected Nissan Patrol. Power and sophistication that eclipses everything in its class. Unbelievable.
It's a Nissan, that's my car.
Sunday night football, Australia's high-powered football.